welcome to another episode of Sawdust Nation Podcast, episode 91. That's right, 91. We have Nick from MPG Creations.
Yo.
Nap from Nap's Nutty Works, LLC.
Hi.
And myself, Josh from North Country Woodworking. What's going on in the shop, guys?
Well, I'll tell you what. I have a quick PSA for all the makers in the community, especially for the ones on Instagram. I want to let you guys know that there is a ring of scammers going around messaging people, trying to get them to click links. I received one the other day for somebody it was somebody's normal woodworking page, and you know how our community supports each other, and if we ask people to vote for something, we shoot them a message or whatnot, and most of us will gladly do so. But I want you to be aware that there's a lot of scams. So the way around it is this. The Nigerian scamming ring that is asking people to vote for stuff will not go on a video call with you through Instagram. So if you suspect, or if anybody messages you and asks you to vote for something, ask that individual to go live with you. Not say live, you don't have to do a live, but you can go, video call with them. And if they deny it, if they say, no, I'll do it after you vote, then that means they're a scammer. Otherwise, if it's your friend that's messaging you and they do go live with you and it's a Nigerian scammer, you're going to be able to tell right away. So just be aware that it's out there, and there's a lot of good accounts getting hacked. With that being said, I'll get off my soapbox now and open it up to whoever has anything for what's going on in their shop. So, Nap, you got some exciting news. What's going on?
Exciting news? Well,
yeah,
it's not really shop news, but it's fun times. But I will say I've got a few things. So first and foremost, I did get that hat stand back that I talked about last episode, sitting right over here, not pulling it in frame because it makes me mad that it got broke to begin with.
Did you ever figure out what happened, or someone admit?
Okay. And I'll never know. And that's fine. I'll fix it this once. If it gets broken again, at that point, I'm calling gross negligence, and I am not fixing it again. So there's that. I got hit up for some more of my beer mugs for my Hail and Farewells. These things are freaking awesome. Like, I'm just going to do this, cover the name. But I'll tell you what, I've dialed this thing in so much that I literally didn't have to scrub this one. It was literally just like wipe off, and I was like, oh, that's it? Sweet. And I know Robert Lee, he ended up getting hit, or I finally, and I'm sorry, Robert, for really like delaying the sending of this thing, but he is getting his mug probably tomorrow because it was 2 days. He lives right here in Texas, so it shouldn't take too long to get to him. And because I sent it USPS, I guess maybe the little brother or big brother to UPS, I made sure to pack the Ever-Living, out of it to make sure it does not get broken. So it should arrive there in one piece because it is glass after all. But then also, these aren't finished yet, but I put the cork bottoms on them and all that stuff. It's just the logos on their coasters because, they wanted coasters with them. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll make those. And then I finally finished something there was a reel that went up. It was very fast because I can't show the full thing on Instagram quite yet, but I will show those that are either watching in YouTube land or that are Patreons that can see this stuff after the fact. But I finally finished that Staff Sergeant Shadow Box made out of all walnut and the maple accents. So I'm going to turn around, grab it, show it, and that way everyone can kind of see all of it in all its glory. So give me 2 seconds.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and there it is, folks. There it is, on all its glory.
So yeah, this thing, honestly, I probably could have got it done faster, but, I haven't made one quite like this before because the design is a tad different. Normally the flag goes up top because of the chevrons up top for the mass sergeants and whatnot, but this particular person just had a different career choice, and they decided, hey, you know what? I'm just done, now, and they're going to go do something else. But their unit was pretty awesome to get them a shadow box made, which goes to show that that person really meant something. Because at the end of the day, if you're in a unit and you aren't, listen, either not the most liked or you're just, lack of better terms, POS. They generally don't take care of you. They just don't. I mean, that could be anywhere. But this guy must have meant a lot to them because they got something really nice for him. So I can't wait until he receives that in mid-April.
Wow, Nap. That's a bold statement.
Hey, it might be a bold statement, but at least in maintenance, that's how it is. So, but moving on past that, I got all the stuff I need to get done before I go on my awesome trip, which I'll talk about in a second. But when I come back from said trip, I have 2 shadow boxes due, a hat press, a hat stand, 2 hat presses, and a few other little things that I got to do. But those are all kind of end of April, mid-April, like 15th through the 18th time frame. So I got time when I come back. I'm not going to be like hitting the ground running or anything like that. But I do leave for Fort Worth to fly out of there to go to Disneyland. We get to go to Disneyland for a week with the family. This is the first legit, first legit vacation I've actually taken with my family. That's sad to say. In the time that Sarah and I have been married, that's my wife, if you didn't know my wife's name, but we've been married 8 years and we haven't taken one actual like family trip. But Zane is now old enough, so we can go do stuff like that, and he'll actually somewhat remember that kind of stuff. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so I'll be there till next week, Wednesday, and I'll be driving back from Fort Worth Thursday. So I'll be back making sawdust, so that'll be fun. But yeah, that's a lot of what I got going on in the shop as far as projects. I got to say, I need help. And I'm watching, Mr. Snodgrass with the whole bandsaw thing. But, man, I'll tell you what. I'm getting fed up with this darn thing. Like, the blade, it sounds like it's hitting a bearing somewhere. I don't know what bearing it's hitting. I've checked everywhere. There's nothing it could be contacting. Like, the blade has wobble to it, but it's tight. So I don't know what's going on. I might even need Nick, who is not Mr. Snodgrass, but has a working bandsaw, to maybe come help me set mine up because I'm screwing up somewhere and I don't know what it is. But hopefully we get that fixed because I do need to resaw some wood. If not, I'll be taking a trip to Nick's house and using one of his 2. Or no, you got rid of one of them. So your one bandsaw to split some wood.
News to Nick.
Yeah, this is news to Nick now. I just thought about this as I was talking. So, but yeah, and then outside the shop while I'm in Disneyland, because, you're not going to spend all day at the theme parks. I like theme parks, but being around that many people could get a little annoying at times. So, we'll have evenings to ourselves. Well, on which evening, I can't remember if it's a Friday or Saturday evening, I'll be joining Joey Steelblade on a live YouTube event and helping them out with laser questions, which I'm pretty excited about. I honestly did not expect to get asked to do this. It's just one of those things. I don't consider myself an expert, but I know enough to get around. So I'm pretty happy to help them out with whatever I can, to be honest with you. Also, Joey, I appreciate you inviting me to do that with you. Other than that, that's really all I got going on. Nick, what's up, man? What you got going on in your shop?
Oh, well, just steadily getting through some of my orders. Things are booming. I took a couple days off last Friday and Saturday. Well, yeah, so it was my birthday, so I had a good time. I invited
Happy birthday.
Thanks, pal. I had my buddy Nap come over. We enjoyed a few whiskeys. Not to say that we drink a lot, but the next day was a little rough for both of us.
It went from taste testing to more than taste testing.
Yeah, it was definitely a dynamic situation. Nap got emotional on me. And I've just been working on shadow boxes, and I finished one in like 4 hours the other day, which was from start to finish too. Now, mind you, the lumber was already milled to the correct thickness, and I had all the materials to do it, and I didn't have to fill it with anything. But that being said, I'm still proud of that feat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It looked pretty cool. So good job.
thanks, much appreciated. But
You sound so enthused.
I finished. I had a plaque I did for a guy who was going away at work, and his pet peeve. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but his pet peeve was when people spelled his name wrong at the at work, especially on like certificates and emails and all that stuff. So I managed to spell his name wrong twice on the plaque on purpose. So that was fun. Yeah, man. And I'm just, I've been cleaning my laser lens a lot because I've been cutting a lot of acrylic. And I've been pulling a lot of rabbits out of my hat, I guess you could say. Because, you get a job that starts to go sideways and you're like, uh-oh, got to innovate on how to get this thing out of the shop and look good, right? And I've definitely been working on that and been successful. So I'm at like a 25% success rate on mess ups, on repairing my mess ups. But other than that, though, since last week, I've just been pretty much in awe of what, the 100th episode's coming up, and really kind of just reflecting on all of the work we've done to make the 100th just amazing. So if you haven't seen our reels on Instagram or haven't seen our posts, we've listed a couple of things and shown pictures of a couple of things we're giving away. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, we have the router sled from Clean Cut Woodworking donated a router sled, and that's going to be an Instagram giveaway. And then we have, what is it? We released a video the other day of the 1.5 kilowatt air-cooled spindle from PWN CNC that we're giving away. So we're not giving away chintzy little things. So I'm really, sometimes there's giveaways and people are giving away some little things, right? That's great. This is our 100th, so we're going all out, pulling the stops. Other than that, that's all I got going on in the shop. I just had to mention that because I'm like really like kind of excited. But Josh, what do you got going on in your shop, man?
Well, it's been a very interesting week for myself. There is not a lot going on currently, but a lot coming due very soon. So I've been doing very well about keeping up with projects and due dates and how that all rolls out. I've been doing everything in stages, and I think I'm at the point where I can produce. Basically, the 1st of April, I got like 7 projects due at the same time. And it seems like I get stacked on a little bit more here and there. I just got another shadow box. But the shop is finally cleaned up. It's finally organized. I can go in there, find everything, go right to it, no problem. I cleaned out the wood stack I had and got rid of a lot of lumber, took it back to Lowe's. Actually got some cash back for that, which was nice. And stacked it up with my most used wood, hardwood. So I got a shelf dedicated to poplar, cherry, walnut, and the poplar shares also some maple. So now that's pretty accessible. I don't have to stack it here or there. It's nice. It's really nice to go in there and just have a nice flow and everything happening that way. So far as projects go, I got 2 coin holders that are going to be coming due. I have 2 shadow boxes that are going to be coming due in the beginning of the month. One's going to be the Marine 88, but that one's going to be painted. They wanted the red and gold, so that could be really going with the walnut or anything crazy with that. But I think it's going to be interesting. They want to do the interior, the dark hunter or forest green of like their dress uniform. So I'm trying to track down that fabric now, trying to get the right color, and that's proving to be a little difficult. But we'll get it done. They're actually trying to help me track it down, so it's not like I'm doing it alone. They're physically looking around and trying to find it as well. I haven't received those items for that yet, but they keep trying, and it should be relatively soon. The second shadow box I received items for actually today, and it's for someone I've actually been working with for a number of years. So it's weird making a shadow box for someone that's retiring and someone you've worked with for quite a while. So that's pretty cool, and that's not gonna be too crazy. They just want a normal shadow box, nothing with stripes or anything. I think I'm gonna zazz it up a little bit. I have some ideas I want to try to incorporate, but we'll see. What else do we got going on? I have another hammer order that I'll be doing, 2-foot one. Those seem to be every other week, so they've been going very well. I'm glad I went and got those pieces of walnut from New Jersey Wood Forever. That has definitely been worth my while so far. And I actually got an order from New Jersey Wood Forever. They would like me to do a cutting board for their daughter's wedding. Apparently, they're getting married here very soon, and he owns some top line restaurants in New York City and really wants me to do a cutting board for them and maybe some more if they really like them. So that might be a cool source of revenue down the road. Estimates are almost out the door for the Army side. Taking a little while to find all the necessary materials for that. And it's just some of the materials I'll be using are not the typical things I use. So, tracking them down, finding a good price, it takes a minute, but we're getting through it, muddying through it. But yeah, a lot going on in the shop, a lot of things coming up, a lot of conversations I'm having with different people to, ensure later projects. Got to do a few projects, even for the house. I did a little cubby, minimalist cubby for my daughter. It basically was birch plywood leftovers I had, and I made a box and I rounded all the edges and I sanded it down smooth, and then I took some Halcyon and I threw that on there, and it is so smooth and just like she can literally take that and play with it in a room by herself and I'd be okay with it. But it's for a toy. She can use it as like a desk area and store toys underneath. And it's just, my wife wanted it, so I built it real quick. So that was nice. I'm also doing a desk for my son, and that's going to just be basically a slab with some epoxy down the crack. And it's going to be able to be folded down when he's not in use. So it'd just be kind of like a slab on the wall. And then when he wants to use it, he folds it up. And guess what? Now he has a desk that he can use and, do his drawing or whatever he would like to do. If you're one of our Patreons, we're actually doing something new. Our top tier Patreons, the Bag of Sawdust, are getting to watch us live on YouTube during this episode. I wanted to mention that real quick because apparently I am now a ghost. My computer decided to just do its own thing and shut my camera off. And the only way to get that back is refresh the page. And since I am the host, it would not be good for our recording. So to our Patreons, thank you for joining. Sorry, of course, it would be the first live episode we do for you, and I would drop out. But you know what? Technology will be technology, and we will push through.
What
Freaking nerd.
No, I think Josh is he's just couldn't find anything to wear, so he's naked. That's why his camera's off.
Well, I had to get up, and I'm not wearing pants, so I just had to do something. But yeah, so I got a lot going on in the shop, a lot of different things. I do want to take a moment and talk about Inventables, and they finally got a hold of me. They sent me a test to make sure my machine was square, which I was one of the first things I made sure was square. But yeah, I have to complete this test and send it back, and they need to look over the results to go to the next step. I think I'm just going to buy a stepper motor and throw it in there, see what happens, and call it a day. It's at that point where I just don't want to waste my time anymore. I can get it to work if I go really slow for short periods. But if I go at a normal speed for my Z-axis, nap. If I go for a normal length, if I do an hour carve, a lot of Z-stepping, it totally starts to float. And I have to do some trickery and magic with easel in order for that to work.
So on that, did you end up like narrowing it down to possibly it just being a little heavy for that for the slide on the X carve or for the Z axis, or
It's either one or two things. I've narrowed it down to two things. It's either the stepper motor or the wiring. And if I get the stepper motor, I can get the wiring too and just replace both. And then, I alleviate the possibility of it being anything else that way. And if it continues, then I have no idea what it could be. Because I've gone through, I've tightened everything. I've done every step that I know about CNC. I did some posts about it. I got some wonderful guidance from people on different things and how to go about trying to fix this. And I honestly, it's the only thing I can think of. So, sometimes, go ahead.
I mean, it could be. Did you plug it in?
There's a plug. No, not at all. Nope.
Did you try turning it off and on again?
I did.
That's the
actually.
engineer's question, right?
I waited 90 seconds, which is a KC-10 engineer joke. But yeah, well, that's the shop. I mean, I'm basically, I have it set up now. So even though I don't have a lot of room, I have a lot of room to move around. And everything is on casters, and I could basically do, circles with anything in there except for the table saw. And yeah, it's going well. I'm really happy walking in there and just chilling and doing what I need to do. So, but yeah.
Did we have I think we had a question, did we have a question?
Yes, one from Victor, right?
One from Victor and one from David Snyder.
Oh.
All right. So the question for the podcast is Domino versus Lamello for usage as far as cabinets. Which would you prefer? Thanks, guys. Well, I'm just going to give my 2 cents. I don't have either. However, I've seen the Domino used, and that thing is awesome. I looked up the Lamello, and I think the Domino is awesome. So that's about all I got to say about that. Nick, you have one. You have a Domino.
I do. So I didn't pay as much for my Domino as I did for a Lamello. Let's put it that way. Because they are super expensive. I know Dominoes are expensive too. I think the Domino I bought was $1,100. It's the smaller one. But I don't see a reason why you would need such an expensive tool for cabinetry. I'm sure it has its place. But as far as joinery goes, you can do the same thing with the Domino. And now even the Domino has joints that lock together that they're like this hardware that goes inside the Domino holes that lock together. I'm not familiar with the Lamello, but $1,700 for a Lamello biscuit joiner with a diamond cutter. Whew, you must.
Sheesh.
You can buy, what is it? What's the big Domino? How much does that one cost?
Like $1,500, $1,700. But I'll let you finish yours. But I have a lot to add on this because I've actually seen both in person.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I watched a video of the Lamello a while ago. Yeah, I mean, if you have a Domino and you're looking to upgrade to a Lamello, I don't know, man. I think you're fine with the Domino. But if you have a Lamello, use that then. That's all I got to say. I'm sorry I can't speak too intelligently on it, but just remember this though. The Lamello is going to cost you at least $200 more, $300 more than the Domino DF700XL. And you're not going to use the DF700XL for cabinetry. That's the big one. So the regular Domino jig is about $1,100, and you can get away with doing cabinetry that way. But I'm going to turn it over to Josh.
Okay, so Domino, we've all seen that being used all over Instagram. Well, for the most part, a lot of people have it. I would say if you did a poll, 95% of the people on Instagram doing woodworking that are bigger names have it and are using it, and we'll show you 1,000 different ways to utilize it. There's jigs for it. You can't go wrong. You could build more than cabinetry with it. You could build furniture. People literally will use that to build wonderful pieces of furniture, which I do I do feel like we lose out a little bit of the wood joinery with that because the domino is just so easy that some of those skills don't always get utilized. But if you're a business and you're trying to utilize tools and make production faster, it makes sense. And if people don't really necessarily want the wood joinery, then you're not missing out, right? So that's that side of the coin. But the Lamello, I got to see when I was at Workbench Con. And I actually brought this up with Nick at one point in time because now they have their machine, which does special cutting and special connectors, much like the Domino. Their machine costs a little bit more. It is Swiss made. That's one of the reasons they say it is a little bit more.
The Swiss?
The Swiss.
Yeah, the Swiss.
Is coming to the States, obviously. At the time, they were talking about how they're trying to introduce it more into, the market. And I was very impressed. Their connectors and everything, they're talking about hundreds of pounds of connectors, stuff that you could do with cabinetry, almost like IKEA stuff, which would be perfect for flat packing or for like military usage and stuff like that. So it really all depends exactly what you're trying to utilize. Now, I'm going to go a little further into the Lamello line and say they have connectors you do not need their machine for. And there's the cabinet 12s and 8s, and they look like little drill little 3 holes and basically use a connector, and it can hold up to like 200 to 300 pounds. And if you're trying to if you have a CNC and you can have those holes drilled up for you, or you just can use a drill bit, and some of them are flush, some of them go beneath the material, some of them have a lip. What I'm trying to get at here is these particular pieces of hardware can be perfect for the people that don't need to go ahead and buy a Domino or a Lamello. They could buy these fasteners and basically utilize them for a takedown piece of furniture. I know Nick has a project that he's currently working on or about to start working on, and I think they would be a perfect addition to that. Now, like anything, something that's convenient and that works really well is pricey. I think they did say they're like, and don't quote me on this, it's a memory of 20 cents, per piece. But I mean, like, that's not that bad. And I know kind of off topic of which one is better, but basically it comes down to of what your budget is and what you're trying to achieve. If you're looking for stuff that's basically going to be able to take down multiple times and then essentially flat packed, Lamello might be your bag. If you're looking for something that is going to hold tight and just never come apart, you can go Domino. I mean, people have been using that. It works well. So, and I think Nick hit it pretty much on the head when it came to cabinetry. You're not going to be using that. Was it the XL?
Yeah, the XL is the most expensive Domino joiner out there.
Yeah, you're not going to be utilizing
that's a big boy.
It is, but they do have ways, and they do have jigs you can utilize to get to the smaller dominoes and stuff like that too. I think Mike Coffey did that. He bought the XL and then he bought jigs and stuff so you can utilize it like the smaller version. So it is versatile, and there's ways to utilize it. You can buy big and then use it as a little, and vice versa. But yeah, I would go Domino personally, just because that would be what I mostly use it for, is furniture and putting things together. Great question. I'm actually glad he brought that up.
It's a tough choice though. Like Josh said, it all has to do with where are you at? Are you a professional? Or are you in your garage? For me, it doesn't make sense to buy one because I have the other. It's all situational based or relative to your situation. Yep. I know some people that do joinery with a biscuit cutter or a biscuit joiner from DeWalt. Sometimes that stuff's good too. I mean, it just depends on what product you're putting out.
That is more for alignment. I mean, it does hold some structural too, but it's more for alignment when you put things together. Not so much.
You're more for alignment.
Anyway, long story short, yeah, you nailed it. You can use whatever you want to use when it comes down to it. You can use dowels, you can use biscuits, you can use dominoes, you can use a Lamello. There are multiple choices out there, but It's really on your budget, what you're trying to achieve.
Okay. I smell what you're stepping in there. Josh, what do you use? Do you have what do you have? Do you have a biscuit joiner or what do you have?
I have a Porter Cable biscuit joiner, and I've been using that for, I don't know, quite a while. And that's how I know for a fact it's not meant, it's just for alignment when you're gluing stuff up and stuff like that. I've seen people use it to put cabinets together too, to help keep them basically stable enough while clamping and stuff. I have my eye out for a domino. I really want to get one, looking to get one. Just haven't found one for the right price. They're pretty expensive.
I know. So I don't know about Lamellos, but I do know that Festool tools in general hold their resale value very well.
Yeah,
So
they do.
if you buy one, or I've seen people buy the domino joiners and they sell them for about just as much as they bought them for. You're not gonna get lowballed by people. Well, people will still try to lowball you.
I'm looking for that Facebook Marketplace deal, man. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. I probably will end up getting it, and I'll probably just buying it outright. But I have some big tools I'd like to buy this year, and if I can put that on the list, that'd be great. But I definitely want a new laser and CNC before then, unless something happens where I can buy all three out right away, which my wife would agree probably won't happen.
So on that Festool thing, I'm getting one, just not right this minute. I definitely want one. After using it a few times at Nick's place, I'm like, yeah, I'm sold. I'm gonna get one, but I have to get like the whole setup to use it. So I'm just kind of biding my time, kind of in your shoes there, Josh. Like, wait to see if one just randomly surfaces on Marketplace or something.
French rifles never used, or was it French rifles only fired once, or never been fired, only dropped once? There you go.
There you go. You got there.
Yeah, I got there. It took me a minute. Anyhow, so what else? We have another question from Victor, right?
We do. Anyone pull that up? I could not find it.
I can't find it either, but I saw it come through, and then I lost it.
I did too. Victor, you are actually live with us right now. Can you go ahead and type that into the chat message on YouTube?
Yeah, Victor. Come on, Victor.
Yeah, you're right. I did see it come through, but it's almost like it disappeared. And this is the awkward pauses that we're trying to...
I'm looking to see. Avoid?
There we go. There's words.
Words, things, stuff's happening until we find this question. Oh, Lord. Cherry wood. I've got that in here. Yeah, there we go. Oh, hey, I've got some of Ducky's mesquite in here, too. We got some of that. Don't worry.
Let's discuss Nap's ability to find beautiful hardwood just on his freaking shelf. Like,
okay,
this is almost weekly. This happens.
Okay, so I feel bad for Josh and even Nick, because Nick goes, I need that. I'm like, you can't have it. I need it too. So get this. I bought this, I want to say this maple probably 5 months ago, and I was making a flag. So Nick also we both made flags. It just turned out that way. We didn't know until but they were already built. And we're like, oh, you made a flag too, huh? And I made one for one guy. He made a flag for another guy. But I ended up finding I have a 12-inch wide, and it was at the top.
Nope. We're not going to talk about that.
Huh?
What, your 12-inch wide? Never mind.
No,
go ahead.
It's hardwood maple, dog. Come on.
I thought you were talking about the other thing.
You might be as wide as a tuna can, but you can't touch the top, my friend.
Well, yeah, so it was a piece of maple that was 12 inches wide, and at the time it was probably 8 foot, maybe 10 foot long. I can't remember, but I chopped it down because I was using it for other stuff. Well, I ended up sending it to the planer, and I was like, yo, is that figuring in this maple right now? And I looked at that, I was like, no way. I can't be that lucky, because I've had some quilted / curly cherry. I still have pieces of that, by the way. That's still sitting in the garage. I'm saving that. I found some quilted walnut / curly walnut. And then we found the maple. The maple was just straight curly, and I'm like, yo, that one time I found a 12-inch wide piece of curly maple. And Josh is like, I hate how? You. How?
Exactly.
Dude, okay, so I do have a small, way that I look for certain, woods if I'm looking for that kind of stuff, especially in rough cut lumber. So it's a chance. It's a gamble. But so far it's been probably I want to say 85% effective. Is when I look at rough sawn wood, if it's got some weird swirls or weird like patterns on the rough sawn wood, chances are it's figured wood. Obviously, you don't know until you plane it. But that went the same thing with that mahogany that we got. And no, it was not sapelli. It was African mahogany. Planing through that, like, yeah, it's got figure in it like crazy. And you could tell just by the rough cut that it was figured. So, yeah, I don't know how I'm getting so lucky. I'm sure that luck will run out because I won't have Dakota hardwoods forever.
Sorry.
Flashbang?
I'm dying over here.
Concussion grenade. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure my luck will run out. I'm going to buy, I think, a good stack of wood before I leave here and put it in my moving truck because I want to be able to have some kind of lumber to sustain myself at least for the first month or so until I find a good lumber supplier up there, which I'm told is they've got some good places, but obviously prices are going to be a little ridiculous comparatively speaking. And I know Josh is probably shaking his head even with his screen being off right now. But so I don't know how it keeps happening, Josh, but I guess I'm just lucky that way. If we ever link up, in New Jersey or wherever you're at, and you go to a lumber yard, just have me pick your wood for you, I guess.
You can always pick my hardwood, man.
That's dirty. That's dirty.
Oh, that's very dirty.
This is a family show. Have you ever, Nap, about your hardwood, right? Have you ever gotten a piece of hardwood that you didn't see swirls or whatever in, and then it turned out to be curly AF?
Yes, and that's why I say it's not 100% telltale, but I had that happen with a piece of walnut one time, and I sent it through the planer, and actually it was part of it was a cutoff. So what I made the union out of for Old Boys Flag,
yeah,
it was a regular piece of walnut, and I sent that sucker through, and man, the ribbons of curl in that thing was ridiculous. And I was like, yeah, that was not expected. So yes, I would say 85% of the time it works. What is it?
60% of the time it works every time.
Yeah. But typically speaking, if the rough sawn wood does have some craziness going on to it, I would definitely pick that piece of lumber as long as it's not twisted.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
It's time to get it.
Picking out rough lumber is something you have to learn. Looks like Nap has the hang of it. I know. Go ahead.
I forgot.
You better get those nuggets.
Oh my gosh! You better get them nuggets.
But yeah, that's for me personally. When I go pick out rough lumber, I'm always looking out for any kind of special lumber, anything that stands that lumber apart. But they don't always show you everything.
Will you buy it even if you don't need it?
If I see something, yeah, absolutely. Because you never know when that's going to come in handy. I always buy a little bit more cherry every time. I always buy just a little bit more walnut every time. I don't go through maple quite like you guys do. Cherry and walnut seem to be the big sellers here. And that's just for me, but I do buy a lot of poplar because I have a lot of clients that want a product that lighter color wood, and they don't necessarily want to pay the maple price. So poplar seems to be something I keep in stock as well. Did you just eat your son's chicken nugget?
So
don't joke.
How about you, Nap? If you see lumber that's I guess special, because if you don't need it and you see something that's super curly, will you buy it just because?
So I have been known to be I'm going here for just this and only this much. And then I look, and yes, I've seen a piece or two, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take that with me because I'll use it for something later. It's like going to a candy store and seeing something that's oh, that looks nice, or that looks tasty, and then you just don't get it. That's ridiculous. If it's there and, it can benefit me later, I'm definitely going to grab it. That's kind of what happened with that cherry, that rough cherry, that really crazy, curly quilted cherry I had.
Yeah.
I didn't intend on buying that rough cherry, and I just did because it was there and it looked nice. So I was like, I'll take it. And it was wide. I think that was the biggest piece. It was a wide piece of cherry, because wide boards are hard to come by, especially decent wide planks. So
okay. Yeah, so I'm guilty as all sin when it comes to if there's lumber out there that's like curly maple or whatever, and I see it, and especially if it's at Home
Oh,
Depot and they're selling it for the
yes.
normal price, or if they're or if it's in the regular rack at Dakota and it's curly, and because like a lot of times they'll like pull it and they'll charge more for it, just because they can, because it's more sought after. Um, but I'm guilty of just like bogarting it. If I see it, it's mine. You know, even if I don't need it ever, which whatever.
Speaking of bogarting, so about I would say 2-3 weeks ago, I went to look for some cherry wood over at Dakota Hardwoods, and Nick had gone prior to me. Okay, so I was like, okay, well, Nick probably went through and picked a bunch of stuff out. I get there, I look at this stack of wood, I go, Nick, did
Yes,
you
he
pull
did.
every wide board out of this pile of cherry? He goes, oh yeah, I pulled every single wide board I could get to out of this stack. I was like, you mother trucker, because I was like, I needed wide cherry, but I ended up making do because they ended up bringing me a new bundle. So like, I can't do nothing with this. Like, you can bring me a new bundle or nothing. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll go get you a new one real quick. And they popped it open, and I got me some wide boards. But this dude got like what 7-8 wide boards.
That's messed up,
I got
man.
them all. It was more of a no. Well, so I didn't realize Nap was coming later on that day. Normally we coordinate, like when we go. Sometimes we'll go together. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, this is what I need,
Don't
and
be
he'll
jelly.
pick. Sometimes I'll tell him this is what I need, and he'll pick up lumber for me, and I'll just shoot him the money, and vice versa. But we had not talked that day, and I was feeling pretty good about myself. I walked out of there. I had all the wide plates. I was like, man, I must have bought like $300 worth of cherry and walnut that day. It was a good day. Anytime you go to the lumber yard, it's fun. I don't care if it's a bad day at the lumber yard. It's a good day if you're going to the lumber yard.
It really is, though. Like, at the end of the day, you could have the crappiest day, but you're like, yeah, I get to go do the one thing. If today was terrible, I get to do the one thing I love to do, and that's woodwork in my garage. And how do I do that? I go to a lumber yard, and I get to pick out my stock.
Well, yeah,
Awesome.
of course. I mean, like, it's like a candy store. It's the same way when you go to Woodcraft or go to any of these, woodworking stores. I mean, like, it's like a candy store. You go in, I mean, you buy, the wood you need. You might find something special. It's like the prize inside a cereal box. You never know what you're going to get. It's fun. I mean, today, for the first time in a while, I got to go to Lowe's, which is not really my favorite store right now, and I returned a whole bunch of stuff. And yes, I know. And I walked around with my son, and we looked at tools. We looked at, things he wanted to look. He likes going down the light aisles and just checking out the lights. But, usually I'm in there. I'm like, I need this, I need this, I need this. And I'm running out because I need to get back in the shop, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, like, I took, like, I don't know, 20 minutes just to walk around and just check things out. So, but yeah.
That's the best, man. Like walking around.
No, it's not, because what happens is I end up finding my way to the dang clamp aisle, and then I look at the Pony Jorgensen clamps, and I go, oh, I could use another one of these. Oh, let me get another one of these.
I got to tell you guys, speaking of those, since it was my birthday on Friday, Nap and Josh got me some Pony Jorgensen clamps. I mean, that's a pretty darn good gift if you ask me. Just saying.
Something practical. Well, what was the other thing we got you?
They got me calipers to measure my... They were very small calipers.
Only measure in millimeters.
I'm sorry.
It was... Whatever, I use them. I use them all the time.
Hey, listen.
They sit on my nightstand.
Hey, but on a serious note, Josh, he goes, no, but seriously, mine died and I needed a new pair, so these will come in handy. Like,
yeah, I have two, and I need to get batteries for both. I am without caliber right now. Victor did write his question in the live chat here. So let's go ahead and that.
Where do you find your inspiration for your projects? Oh, it's actually kind of a hard one because it's like multi-answered, I think.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Nick, go first.
I usually get my inspiration from Well, there's two things, right? One, if I see an idea from somebody else that makes it, I'll change it to where it doesn't look like I'm totally ripping them off. Sometimes it does look like I'm totally ripping them off. And other times I'll be laying in bed at night and it's like 1:00 in the morning, and I'll be like, dude, you'd never guess the best ideas come at late at night. So
they do.
That's what I do. How about you there, Nap?
So funny thing is that whole late at night bed thing that we're talking about. So that happened with the Staff Sergeant Shadowbox thing, because I needed to incorporate the hat somehow. I actually had 4 versions of design for this thing, and I ended up settling on, well, obviously this one because it's done. But I didn't know where I was going to hang the hat. I just didn't. I wasn't going to put it in the shadow box because that would have been like a 6-inch deep shadow box, which to me looks a little ridiculous. I ended up settling for hanging it outside, and they had an oversized coin that didn't really fit with the inside of it. So that's why I put the coin in the puck that hangs the hat. But a lot of my stuff comes from like, okay, if someone goes, hey, this is what I want. I type in Google like, hey, Master Sergeant Shadow Box, and I look at that was from the third Shadow Box I made. I looked at a bunch of them before I decided, okay, this is kind of what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to go for. I like the way this looks, as far as like the window, because to me, like a box, just a straight box to me is fine, but I like the way how, like, for example, how I did like the arch with the rooftop and the arch into the stripes in the bottom and stuff like that. So I get a lot of my inspiration from Google, but then also, like Nick has given me some inspiration. Josh has given me some inspiration. Other makers in the community have given me some inspiration. I've asked people questions. I've literally sent like pictures of design, like, hey, what do you think of this? And not necessarily always to Nick or Josh, because like they've got one way of thinking, but they're also could be slightly biased because, well, they know me and they're friends with me. Well, allegedly they're friends with me. And I'll ask people that would be like, that normally don't talk to me about design. And it'd be like, yeah, it's cool, but I think this would look better. And that's where I pull a lot of my inspiration from, is makers and Google. So, Josh?
Well, you guys said a lot of great things. I'm just going to say same. No, it is. Honestly, it is the same stuff. I mean, inspiration, I like how Nick mentioned, like, you'd be laying in bed, you can't sleep, and all of a sudden you think of something. Because that happens a lot. So, yeah, I get those moments as well. The shower inspiration, too. You're sitting there in the shower, and all of a sudden something pops in your head. Yep. Work, same thing.
That does happen.
But honestly, it's these two guys, everyone listening. You go on Instagram, you're looking around, you might get an idea from someone, and then you do a spin-off of it, something kind of your own style or what have you. This community is great about sharing ideas and, inspiring ideas. There's a lot of great makers out there doing some amazing stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to basically repeat what you guys already said, so I'm just going to say same.
That's a cop-out.
But I mean, like, you guys hit it right in the head. So, self-generated ideas, generated from the community and from each other. I mean, like, how many times have we reached out to someone or each other and been like, I'm drawing a blank, I need help. And we just BS a little bit, and all of a sudden some amazing ideas pop out, and we roll with it. That was all done.
That's true. The whole purpose of what we do is this community is to not only help each other out when we need help with a, like working on a project on the technique or something like that, but I mean, we lift each other up. What do they say? Rising tides raise all ships or something like that. So
where did that come from?
I don't know.
Confucius say?
I'm just saying. It's one of those things where ideas, they build on each other, or they build off of each other.
Yes. Yep.
And I'm grateful for that, because I've seen a lot of different mediums, even mediums of how you build something, like what materials you're using can definitely help out for ideas. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. I'm done.
Listen, you're not on a soapbox. You're passionate about what you're talking about. I mean, At the end of the day, you know what the one thing I will say about the community that I do like is that we can all have our creative differences and not feel all like, what is it? Trying to think of we don't get hurt feelings when people don't take our ideas. Like, it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a great idea. It's probably not the way I'm going to go, but thank you for giving me the idea for maybe something later. Like Josh. So Josh and I talked about the shadow box for a minute, the Staff 701. And he said, I really don't like the idea because of dust collecting on it and all that. I'm like, you know what? I feel you. I hear you on that. But the amount of work that would take, and not saying I shy away from the work, but you got to remember, business is still business. And you put as much work into it as what they give you, right? So, like, you're not going to spend, like, you know, what is it, 24 hours, 48 hours on trying to design something that's going to fit a huge hat in it and then fit all their accolades in there as well. And you're getting minimum dollar for it, you know? So we had some creative differences, but after I showed him how I made it, he was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. And one thing Josh discovered was maple and walnut actually looks better than you would think. He's like, I will have to reconsider that combo because it's a nice looking combo. But then again, not for everything.
No, for that particular scenario, because of like just, you know, the light and the dark. I mean, cherry looks great, but it's a little bit more subdued. I don't know. I know, you know, walnut, cherry, maple, any of those combinations usually turn out well. You can't go wrong with them. But for that particular, you know, shadow box, it just really made it pop, and it just came out really well. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. That red felt, though, I gotta say, the red felt. That was the first time using red felt. I love the way red felt looks with walnut. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it does look good. It pops really well. You know,
blue does too.
Glue.
Blue.
Glue on there.
Glue is what holds it together.
It's what holds us all together.
Glue and hope. Glue and hope.
And final thing, real quick, if you are gluing coins down, Gorilla Glue, this clear construction adhesive stuff, wow. Them coins ain't going anywhere. So if you're gluing if you're gluing anything metal onto felt, that's the stuff to use.
So, real quick, what do you guys typically use to glue items or make items stick to your felt?
I use Gorilla Glue if it's permanent. Sometimes I'll use little pins from like sewing pins. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Especially if it's a cork backer, I'll definitely do that.
So for patches and stuff, I just use hot glue because the hooks already kind of cling to the felt. If you just give it a little reinforcement, the hot glue being really, really good for that. I actually used a combination of hot glue and this Gorilla Clear contact adhesive clear grip stuff. The hot glue for the initial stick, just to keep it in place, and then a whole ring of the Gorilla Glue to, well, obviously make it unmovable after it cures. So that's what I use for that.
What about you, Josh?
Hot glue, I've definitely been using that. I like to try the glue. I do have some of their CA glue that I'll use. That stuff is pretty good for make sure it just never move again. I have the pins. Actually, Nick, since you mentioned those, I bought those in my first one. Utilized those a little bit. I haven't done too many or had to do too many coins, but you know the ones I did do did hold well. I like to try the glue, like I already mentioned, but you guys seem to have really nailed down the process. So I'm kind of learning as you guys go too, and following your lead.
I use. Have you ever worked with HDU?
I have not. I've got a piece of it that I want to. I'll probably mill it with my Onefinity once I get it because I'm really itching to use the HDU, to be honest with you.
Why are you going to mill it? It's already an inch thick.
CNC mill. Put it on the CNC and carve it.
Oh, okay. So you're not going to
no.
You're not going to like flatten it because it's already flat. It's already dead flat. You just got to clamp it down. Anyway, I use Gorilla like a caulk, but it's the Gorilla instant glue. I have to get a picture of it. It's in like the orange container, not the clear or the white, but it's got like instant hold. So, or they call it zero, like instant grab or whatever. So you can still move it within like you've got like very little time to move it. Once it's on there and you stick it to whatever, you got very little time to move it. But once it does, it's there forever. You're never going to get it off.
I hate dry times, by the way, especially when using the quick set stuff. You're like, God, I have one chance to get this on here right, because if I don't, I'm hosed. It's like the pressure's on as you're placing it. You're like, oh God, oh thank you, Jesus, it's on.
Yeah, so have you ever glued something down and you like come back to it and you're like, oh my God, I jacked that up. That's all crooked or whatever.
Yep.
Yes. So the Master Sergeant Chevron box. So it wasn't felt or nothing. It was actually the cross beam where the flag goes. So I got it all glued in. I was like, yeah, this looks great. And I'm getting my pocket holes so I can secure this thing to the facade. And I was like, oh no. I put holes right through this thing because I put the pocket screws in so I could get like the pre-drill effect so nothing split. And I put holes right through that thing. I ended up having to miter saw the brace and knock it out and then put a whole new one. That was scary.
Do you remember, I forget what it was. It was like right after I first got here, but I was attaching coins. It was that first plaque I made with my OMTech. And I had to put these coins in there, and I pocket hold the area for the coins to sit flush. But if it's round, that doesn't align it. You have to do it by eye because you have to make sure the words are all faced up. So I get it in there. I got CA glue and all that stuff, and it's good. And then I leave and I come back and I'm like, oh snap, it's crooked. And it's crooked. It's very noticeably crooked. So what I had to do was I had to drill a hole in the back of the plaque. And then I used a metal punch and I put the metal punch in the hole and hit it with a hammer and popped the coin out because you have to break the bond of the glue, right? Then what I did was I sanded the back of the coin, get all that gunk off there, and then restuck it in the hole. And I restuck it in its pocket, and then I let it dry, and then I flipped the thing over and I filled the hole with black CA glue.
Hey, listen, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Luckily, it's the back.
Got to do what you got to do. It's on the back, yeah.
But that was smart. I mean, he was able to go ahead and remove the coin, minimum damage to the actual plaque. You put a hanger over there and no one will know the difference, you know what I'm saying?
It's weird not seeing you, Josh.
But
it is.
It's like we're talking to a void.
I started stripping a little while back.
It's hot. It's getting hot out there.
But
I think we don't have any more questions, right?
Yeah,
I thought Victor wrote another one.
The ending was I couldn't tell what he was trying to ask at the end there. I think he was going to retype it. I'm not 100% sure, but we can say that for the next episode because
absolutely
we love questions. But yeah, I think we should start wrapping it up, fellas.
All right, yeah. So hey, check it out, folks. You saw the ad or the video for the PWN CNC spindle 1.5 kilowatt air cooled spindle giveaway on our Instagram page. If you haven't, go check it out. But if you don't want to leave it to chance and you just want to go and buy a spindle from PWN CNC, you can not only get the air cooled, you could get a water cooled. They have a couple of different options on there. They're wonderful spindles, but as well as everything else at the website, you can get 5% off your order by using promo code SAWDUSTNATION981. Daniel over there. Wait a minute. Is Daniel's on vacation this week?
He
right?
is till 27th.
Well, he'll be on vacation for about another week, but other than that, though, your stuff should be out as soon as he gets back. If you do place your order now, but we encourage you, check them out. They have a wonderful assortment of different aftermarket CNC items. And then next up, I would like to thank Totalboat for their continued support. If you need a 10% off promo code for Totalboat, shoot us a DM at the Big IG or shoot us an email at sawdustnationpodcast@gmail.com and we'll get you squared away. But other than that, I'm going to kick it on over to Nap now.
Hey, so all of you all listening to us on the old Apple Podcast or Spotify or whatever the case may be, go leave us a 5-star rating. And if you don't, let us know why you didn't give us a 5-star rating. That way we can give you the content that you deserve. But even if you leave us 5 stars, give us a positive comment on how we did, or maybe some ideas of what you want to hear for the next episode. And on that note as well, looking at our metrics, if you will, because of all you awesome people out there listening to the podcast, we are closing in like fast on that 30K downloads for the podcast. So we do appreciate you all listening out there and just giving us a chance. And make sure you guys are letting everyone know about the Sawdust Nation podcast and this maker community. Because again, we are a community. We are community over competition. We are here to help you, whether it be through this podcast or through just DMs on the regular basis, however the case may be. But yeah, if you want to get a hold of us, Josh is going to tell you how to do that. So Josh,
if you want to get a hold of all 3 of us on Instagram, go ahead and message Sawdust Nation Podcast. You never know who's going to reach back out to you, but you know what? It might be interesting. Then if you want to reach out to us individually, go ahead and do it by reaching out to Nick at MPG Creations, Nap from Nap's Nutty Works LLC, or myself, Josh from North Country Woodworking. Another way to reach all 3 of us is through our Gmail account, where you can, tell us topic ideas, send us pictures of your latest project, or, just go ahead and write in a question or voicemail for the podcast. And you can do that by reaching out to sawdustnationpodcast@gmail.com. And with that, gentlemen, final words.
Yeah, so I think I say this quite often, but we're here to help each other, folks. It's the only way this community gets stronger. And I wouldn't say it if it wasn't important to me. I've reached out to many of you awesome makers out there, as many of you have reached out to me. And I will say thank you for your help, and I'm always happy to help. But on that, keep taking care of each other, folks. The next episode, I'll be recording from Disneyland, so I'm pretty excited. Maybe I'll get on a roller coaster.
On location.
Yeah, on location. I may actually be on a roller coaster in the middle of it. I don't know.
Can you get Mickey Mouse on the
That would be funny. I'll attempt. I'll see what happens.
If you do,
but yeah,
you get major points. Just saying.
No, I'll take a picture with Mickey Mouse and post it on the IG page.
Do a recording with him. Be like, hey, I'm part of a podcast, and we just wanted to get...
It's the new Mouseketeers.
That's all I got to say, folks. Just keep taking care of each other. Nick.
Yeah, like always, take care of yourselves and each other. Until next time, I'm Nick. And we love you.
I'm Nick. Nick.
I like door. I like lamp.
I love
Lamp.
Lamp.
That's what it was. It's been a while since I saw that movie. Thank you guys for joining us for the 91st episode of Sawdust Nation Podcast. We had a great time. It was great going live with our Patreons and being able to interact while we did the podcast. So thank you for all you that had joined during this recording. If you want to go ahead and live in the moment like we are currently with our Patreons, go ahead and sign up for our Patreon account. The top tier gets to join us live, like we just went over, but it's definitely worth it. You get some free stuff. You get double entries. We're constantly adding to the racket when it comes to, the stuff we're offering. So the more of you guys that do join, the more we can offer. It's just how that goes. But thank you for listening to the episode. Hopefully you can turn it on when on your way to work, when you're making your coffee, making your breakfast, even at work. So you can, spread the word just a little bit and, tell any woodworker around you. You may join the podcast, become a Patreon themselves. So you guys have a great week. Go make some sawdust. And this is Sawdust Nation signing off.
Out.
That was a good episode. Sawdust Nation out. Hey, I just want to say the only difference between a tire and 365 used condoms is one's Goodyear and the other one's a Gridyear.
That was good, Nick. That's a good one, bud. I like it.